The Department of Justice is suing the state of South Carolina over its treatment of adults with mental illness. The lawsuit claims the state funds facilities and it facilitates that segregated people who are now mentally ill areas are now in more areas that are just segregated over more community-based services. The allegations go back to 2016. Last year, the DOJ issued a 23-page report stating the state of South Carolina likely violates federal law and how it treats adults with mental illnesses. I know it's a lot to unpack. We want to bring in Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes to the conversation. First, okay, we all know that it's a fractured system. I don't think anybody's debating that part right here. But when you're looking at this lawsuit and you hear things about patients allegedly being segregated and they're mentally ill, explain kind of what we're seeing in this.
Well, the healthcare system is fractured, but then anything with government moves slow and it moves at its own pace. And the way things are funded, because if funding trickles down from the federal government to the state system, this is why we have this lawsuit.
Okay.
Where they mentioned in their report that they believe there were allegations of this happening. This complaint verifies and supports that exact same thing. 20-plus page report, read probably most of it. You're talking about individuals with SMIs, serious mental illnesses. These people in South Carolina specifically, they're placed in something called CRCFs, Community Residential Care Facilities, basically institutionalizing folks that really should not be placed based on what the Department of Justice is saying shouldn't be placed in these facilities. Give you an example, person with schizophrenia, person with maybe bipolar that can function day to day but needs help taking their medication. They don't need to go to a facility. They maybe need funding to get maybe an in-home nurse or a nurse that comes and checks on them day to day. So then they can still be integrated into society and not placed in this, adult care facility for the duration of their lifetime. So that right there is the main violation. And they're talking about almost 1,000 people that they've recognized, 970 plus people that the state of South Carolina is paying to be in these facilities that should not be in these facilities.
So when you look at the lawsuit, I mean, this is something that came with a warning. This all of a sudden didn't just get dropped out of the sky to say, okay, we're going to sue you. They knew these issues were there. They knew that there was some concern. What's the goal of all this?
The goal is to get a declaratory judgment. They're asking the courts to make sure that they say and declare that the state of South Carolina has violated Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act, ensuring specifically that they are integrated into society, given the least restrictive means to ensure that funds that are used in that state will provide them with care and not have them removed, isolated, and or segregated when there is an easier available outcome. In this situation, the easier available outcome is to not put them in a care facility, but to fund care or treatment where they are at. And so they're asking the court to declare that and to make the state of South Carolina stop doing what they're doing.
So an important question here. The Department of Justice reports to the president. So what we know in South Carolina, that Governor Henry McMaster obviously has a support from President-elect Donald Trump. When you're looking at this particular lawsuit, is there something here with the timing of all this? I
mean, timing is key. But these reports are things that take years. You're talking about they looked at them for the last 3 or 4 years. And so the timing, I wouldn't say is connected to the election, but the timing of it will have a detrimental effect and will be, stalled or stopped by the election. The new Department of Justice head, whoever's running this, will probably not push forward on these type of agenda issues. It's not something that's politicized, but I think that the president and the president-elect, I should say, has had a tendency most recently to say that issues like this should be determined by the state. But even in a situation like this, where the ADA, the American with Disability Act, is a federal regulation and a federal rule, I still think that this would be something that the new administration will not be pushing as hard as the current administration.
All right.